Well, howdy do everyone. We're starting off a week and it is a new day, a new dollar as they say sometimes, for those of you who are working. And today I just wanted to not get too serious about anything. I wanted to share some fun stories because I think stories, life stories, events that happen to you, your experiences and your observations are all pretty good things to share, especially when you have funny things that crop up. So, and they're humorous. Sometimes they're humorous on hindsight. So I wanted to share some stories today about my experiences that I find humor in reference to taking care of a very dear, good old friend of mine who has Alzheimer's and dementia-related Alzheimer's. And I've been taking care of him and overseeing his well-being for many years now, and I think about going on 7 years, which for me is seems like a long time. And I didn't really ever know I was going to be thrown into this position and end up doing it. So I'm not a caretaker. I don't consider myself a caretaker. I don't consider myself the person who knows all the answers. I had to learn the hard way on how to take care of a person who is not able to take care of themselves. I didn't have any nursing training or any background. The only background I have is in psychology through my education, because I have a degree in psychology. And so I didn't know what I was getting into, and certainly didn't know a whole lot about, what to expect with someone who was experiencing dementia or Alzheimer's for that matter. And things started happening, and I started figuring it all out. And I had a lot of fights along the way. I had a lot of confusion along the way, and what have you. But some of the greatest things that happened along the way are stories that I feel are fun to remember now, about caring for someone and taking care of someone who has Alzheimer's or dementia. So I wanted to share some of these stories with you today to start off the week, because in hindsight they're fun and funny. When they're happening, they're not necessarily so funny. Anyways, I'm holding my glasses. You probably see that because I'm going to put them back on here. Forgive me for that, because it is just bright where I chose to sit today in the car, and the last video I did the same thing. So anyway, I'm gonna have to find a shadier spot if we're gonna do it in the car, right? Anyways, story time about Alzheimer's. Okay, so one night I was downstairs in the room where my friend stays now. That was my room, but since they're not able to go up and down stairs anymore, they're not able to take care of themselves in pretty much any way except to walk and to feed themselves, I take care of everything else. But I remember this story of watching television in my room, and the doors were open, and all of a sudden I see this golden glow reflecting off the wall, and I could see it through the opening of my door, so it's on an angle, coming from the front room. And I thought, what the heck is that? And I jump up and I run into the front room, and there's my friend sitting at the kitchen counter island, and he's got the gas stove turned on, and he's sitting there bored out of his mind, it seems, taking his mail that he picked up from the mailbox, and he's burning it over the stove piece by piece. Instead of throwing the mail away, he was burning it up, and I'm like, no! Literally. I said, don't do that. You could catch the house on fire. How stressed I was in that moment. But looking back on it, it's just like a funny story to think about, that actually happened, that he was burning mail on the stove. And this was in the early stages before I figured out what was going on. I ended up turning the gas to the stove off. because I felt like in another life he must have been a pyromaniac, because he would burn candles and he'd walk away and they'd still be burning and they'd explode. And then to do this with the mail on the stove, and he would turn the stove on to warm up the room instead of turning the heat on, the central heat. I guess he thought he'd save money. He was always a frugal person and worked hard for his for what he had. But on hindsight, it's just too funny, but it was dangerous in the moment, and I was freaking out. Can you picture me running and flying out of my bed and running into the front room going, no? So that's story number one. Now, what else is there? He used to go out and sit on the front balcony, because where he lives is on the 6th floor of a high-rise. And he has a nice balcony, and he used to have potted plants out there. They weren't real plants, they were the plastic kind, because it gets really hot here, so you can't have unattended plants out there. They wouldn't last. But the plastic kind was supposed to last a long time, which, by the way, they're gone now. They didn't last as long as they probably projected them to, because I had to get rid of them. They were just disintegrated. But anyway, I digress. He would go out on the balcony, and he would sit there and look at the world go by, and the view, and the sunrise, and the sunset, and what have you. And then all of a sudden, he would just get up, and he would go to the corner of the balcony in front of one of these pots. And I thought, why is he doing that? Because then he would just stand there for a little while, and then he'd go back and sit back down in his chair. And I thought, oh, what's going on there? Turns out he was using that potted plant as a toilet. He was peeing in that toilet. He was out on the balcony. He didn't care who was watching. And I used to think, oh my goodness, what is he doing? Why is he doing that? And I didn't know what was going on. But he was watering the plants, literally. But they weren't getting the water because they were plastic. That was just too much. And it goes one step further than that, because then even inside the house, in the kitchen, he would have this big gulp cup sitting by the kitchen sink. And instead of going to the bathroom, which is the same distance away, as it would be the same amount of distance for him to walk to get to the bathroom as it is to walk to get to the sink. But he would rather go to the sink, take that big gulp cup, and take a leak in the cup, and then pour it down the drain. It reminds me of that movie what was it? It wasn't something about Las Vegas, and it had Cameron Diaz and Ashton Kutcher, and they were having to live together because they accidentally got married in a drunken state in Las Vegas, and they lived in New York. Anyways, he needed to go to the bathroom, and she wouldn't let him into the bathroom because she was using it, and he just got up into the kitchen sink and said, yeah, this is happening, and he starts taking a leak. Well, this was sort of reminds me of that story in the movie, except this was real life. And I would have to think, okay, do I say something or do I not say something? I don't know. Again, these were stories of the very beginning stages, and I had no clue what was going on, and I had to sort of take it step by step and figure it all out. So that's story number 2 about him taking leaks in unusual places. And I'd have to remind everyone when they, to be very careful and conscientious of the fact that this was happening, and stay away from the sink. Anyway, had to laugh about that. And the last story I want to share with you today about taking care of someone with Alzheimer's, that you can find humor in moments, even on hindsight, is one night he decided to do a wandering stint, because people with Alzheimer's can do that. Luckily, he has not been one of those people that does that at all, except once or twice a year, if that. And, he's not very complicated and doesn't scream and yell and have that sundowners effect, which I'm very thankful for. In any case, he decides to put on his shoes, take a walk, out the front door, and I hear the door close, which is a good thing. I'm a light sleeper, or I can hear things from a distance and wonder, okay, I'm on alert. So I go running down the stairs. I look around. He's not in the house. So I go down to the lobby of the building, and he's not down there. So I think, well, maybe he's in the parking garage on the 3rd level. So I go up there, and I come off the elevator, and I kind of look around to where my car is. And sure enough, he has made it into my car. I guess I had it unlocked or something, and he was just sort of looking around and doing this kind of stuff. And I come up to the car and I say, "Hey, what are you doing?" And he says to me, "Oh, I'm just down here in this, I'm down here to film this scene that the director wants me to film here in the car." And I just played right along with it, and I said, "Oh, listen, hey, the director changed his mind. He doesn't want to film the scene in the car anymore. He wants to do it upstairs in the apartment. So here, let me take you upstairs, and we'll do the movie up there, okay?" So that's what we did. I got him safely upstairs, out of the parking garage, back up to the apartment. And, since then I've had to do all kinds of safety measures and put extra security locks and safety measures in place to prevent that kind of thing from happening, because I don't want him to get lost or in trouble. But on hindsight, even when that was happening, the fact that he said he was filming a movie in my car, I just inside started laughing, because only this person would say this to me. And it had to be a great story to tell. So I'm sharing that with you today. These are all my stories that I wanted to share today about taking care of someone with Alzheimer's and dementia and finding humor in those moments when these things happen. There's a bunch of others that I'm sure I'll share later down the road. But for now, that's all I've got for you today. If you like this video, give me a big thumbs up. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell, and share this video with anyone you like to, and come back and see me again. Until then, have a great day. I'll be seeing you. Bye-bye.